Welcome to the Broadband interview, hosted by DJ Intranet.
Welcome to the interview, listeners. You just heard Really Don't Miss You by our guest, Namibian rapper, Wiser Observer. Hello. So first real question for you. How would you describe your music? What's the vibe you're going for?
Um, wow. Well, I think going in is trying to be as genuine as possible. I know that's really vague, but usually when I try and go for a song, I try and use lyrics that are either mimicking what has happened. I
Hmm.
try to be as very honest about how I feel about a situation. Usually that's what I try and go for because that tends to um, sonically just work better. So I guess genuine, and I know it's a very probably a cliched answer, but that's how I go into it. That's the kind of vibe I'm going for. As sonically, I would say it's a lot more softer. So I guess more emotional. I think the majority of my songs
Mm.
are tend to fall into that nature.
Not necessarily making like a party song, but something that you can like vibe to, something you can sort of feel.
Exactly. Um, those kind of tend to do better. Um, I mean, I do attend party songs, but they those are much the catalog is they sit much rare in there.
I see, I see. So we just played the song that you've dropped most recently. Is there anything else that you're working on at the moment that you're really excited about that you would like to share or talk about to the audience?
Absolutely. Well, it's already set up to come out about 2 weeks from now. It's like it's a song mixed with an audio story, which I think is pretty cool. It's got this childish Gambino, the last kind of vibe. You know, it's
Hmm.
a bit of music and then this very lengthy story. I'm curious to see how that's gonna turn out. It's the first time I've tried that, so that's something I'm definitely looking forward to.
That sounds really exciting. I'm definitely looking forward
Yeah.
to that. And looking at your catalog, now that you mentioned it, you released several singles and an EP about 2 years ago now. Are you planning for an album in the future? What are your thoughts on when you would want to release one?
I currently have no plan to release any full-length project. My plan is to get more traction with fan base. I do pretty well on SoundCloud, so I'm trying to release more frequently singles so I can figure out a marketing way to do much better on Apple Music and Spotify. So currently, no plan at all. I feel projects need a bigger fan base, a dedicated fan base, because nobody who is hearing it for the first time is going to take a chance on an album. It's way too long. You can't expect that kind
Mhm.
of investment when there's so much music being released constantly all the time. So my plan anyway is for at least the next 2 years to keep releasing singles on a consistent basis, and then when I feel I have a dedicated following, release another EP or another mixtape.
Interesting. That's it's definitely a good point to have. Definitely, we've been seeing a lot more, especially in rap, a lot more albums that have been
Mm,
dropping that are like super long, that are
mm,
definitely take a lot of time to listen to. So definitely
absolutely.
appreciate hearing like the other side of that.
Mhm.
Um, and an additional sort of question based on your catalog, you seem to do a lot of collaborations with other like other African rappers. How has the collaboration really influenced your music, and how has that helped you grow?
I will admit, the collaboration has only really started happening last year. Before I used to do songs completely on my own. Again, because of the nature of the songs, which would be the content of it would be a lot more personal and mimicking my life. So a lot of the times the verses they tend to play into each other. So sometimes I can cut out a verse and then have another rapper there, and and I think, but last year I saw that collaborating with other artists, it just from a marketing standpoint as well. I mean, it exposes you to their fans and does the same to you. Um, but I've enjoyed it a lot more than I expected. Hearing verses from either friends or people who just hit me up, it's inspiring. It really is.
We love to see it. I always feel like music is so much better when you're working on it with more
Absolutely.
people because you have so much more influences going
Mm,
on. And last part of like really not deep but personal questions. You had a series on Instagram called Wiser Wednesdays over the past few months. Tell me more about that.
Why is it Wednesdays? Wow. First of all, kudos for your research, man. This is this is dope. Why is it Wednesdays? I'm trying to remember what started. Oh, okay. So that started in about 2018. It was just an idea I had um, because of a show I did, and between songs, I usually try and do a bit of banter with the crowd. And one of my friends said, "Hey, man, you're like that talking you're doing between songs. I think that's really dope." So I marinated on that a bit, and I was like, I think I can try this thing where I speak about the songs that I'm writing about because I like to talk about that, and hopefully other people find it interesting. So I had at the time I was still in university. I
Mhm.
spoke to a friend. I was like, "Yo, I have this idea. Do you mind shooting it for me?" And he liked my music, so he was like, "Absolutely." He got his camera. That we booked out some cameras.
We
A
love to
friend of
see.
mine also had a studio, so he had a nice um, home recording studio, and he had this great paraphernalia, or like on the wall of guitars and stuff. So like, this is a perfect place to shoot it. So that's where it started out there, and then we shot about eight episodes, and after that, school started getting busy again, so we just dropped it. And then I think a couple months went by, we shot two more, and then I came back home after university, so back to Namibia now because of the university in South Africa. And that's when lockdown happened. So I was like, I
Right.
have my phone. Let me just try and shooting these again. And so I would set it up again with just my phone, and then I slowly incorporated a friend in again, and hoping to continue that again this year.
Well, that definitely an interesting approach. I always love hearing artists explain their songs because that's definitely like an underappreciated side of music. And we love your fan like pulling through for you and really being able to make that happen.
Yeah, absolutely.
We
A
love
lot
to
of
see
a lot
it.
of great opportunities, even like great equipment, was just because of people who really like my music. Like, let me take a chance on this guy.
The
And
the
I,
power
I appreciate shout out to them.
the power of the fan base.
Absolutely.
All right, let's get into some fun questions.
Yeah.
So what is your favorite movie and why?
My favorite movie, I haven't seen it again for a long time, but it's this movie called Drive. Um, it has Ryan Gosling in it, and it's it's a very slow-paced movie. I think, which is that I liked about it. It's kind of a thriller action movie, but the movie was much more interesting to me because of the pacing. It wasn't You really had to pay attention, and that was the first movie I've seen Ryan Gosling in. That's I'm impressed by his caliber and his acting. Absolutely. It was just a good movie. It has Breaking Bad vibes, but more like darker. It's just cool, man. It's a really
Right.
cool movie.
Yeah, that movie. It's definitely iconic, at least for like the vibe and the aesthetic of it as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're out here film analysis, looking at you talking about pacing. Um, what is your dream collaboration and why?
My dream collaboration is with a rapper in South Africa called Nasty C. He's on the top of his game in the country, and after listening to his album Strings and Bling, it was just a dope album. And I know he has a very like looking at his interviews and stuff. He has a very business mind, but a very talented artist still. So I think that kind of even just energy to be around, I think that would be incredibly dope.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely having the sort of the like Rihanna energy of like being an artist, but
Yeah,
also being like, let's do everything.
exactly.
And that sort of leads into my next question. What album really changed your life and why?
Oh man, definitely Kendrick Lamar's Good Kid, Mad City. Um, Funnily enough, the single at the time, Swimming Pools, I did not like it. I heard it for the
Really?
first time. I think a friend showed it to me, and I was like, I don't rock with these effects at all. What the
Hmm.
guy's doing to his voice. And then on the whim, maybe I just don't remember. I decided to check out the whole album. And so what I like to do with albums, either on the first or second listen, is go to genius.com and then read the lyrics along to while I'm listening to it.
Right.
And I mean, of course, everyone knows a Good Kid, Mad City. It's a whole story and the snippets intercut into it. I was like, this is amazing. This is really amazing. And up till now, he's still one of my favorite rappers. Absolutely.
It's interesting that you mentioned that as your favorite album, because that's what our last guest said was the album that changed their life. So we love Kendrick. You're really inspiring a new generation.
Yeah.
Um, and I guess really final question. So reflecting on your career thus far, you've been making music for years. You've developed a lot
Mm.
as an artist. What are the biggest lessons that you would give the old you?
Marketing, definitely, and consistency. I definitely, looking back now, I could have been a lot more consistent. And there are times when I was looking, I don't know when it was. I think it was a couple months ago, and I looked up at one of my old songs and had reached like 1,000 plays. I'm like, when did this reach here? And then it just go to show me like if I just kept at it, like from that moment, because when momentum happens, that's something that you should really not take for granted. And so I think that, and then yeah, learning a bit more about marketing, and I think that's very necessary that I should have looked into.
I can definitely relate. I've definitely had times where I had momentum and I didn't know what to do, and then they just like stopped, and I was like, "Wait,
Absolutely.
go back."
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you so much for your time. Definitely looking forward to hearing your music in the future.
Yeah.
And we're going to close the interview with a song you handpicked. Listeners, here is Dubai Drip by Trill XO. Enjoy.